Can I ask?
Welcome. All right. Hi, Kara, Delilah. And
Yeah.
I'm not really sure who is on iPhone. I don't recognize you. Feel free to introduce yourself. Um, how are you doing, Kara?
I'm okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we're here today to talk about, there she is. My office manager has finally settled down. We'll see if she stays calm. It's spring, and she acts like a kitten even though she is 13. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to rest like an adult. This is basically my second event since kind of rejoining the world after taking a year off from my business last year, or mostly off. I did some things. So I'm really excited to be talking about this for a couple of reasons. If you're new to me, my name is Reverend Erin-Ashley. I'm the founder of Spiritual Mechanic. And long time ago, we're going to go back in time to 2011, whenever I started this, I knew I wanted to become a professional psychic and energy healer, but I also had a chronic health condition. And I was helping at the time my fiance build his business. But he went on a weekend retreat and decided that he didn't want to marry me, cheated on me, left with the bank account and the money. And then I lost my wallet. Like within a day or two. So then from there, that's where I started. And I was like, okay, I have to build a business that I can actually only work 10 hours in. And 10 hours is actually the only amount of time that I can work. And how am I going to do what I say I want to do within those constraints? And so basically, 11 years later, that's what I've done. I've been running this business for 11 years. It's never gone out of business. Yay, me. And I've eaten every single day, which, oh my gosh, food is so delicious. So, this is something that's really important, regardless of whether you have a chronic health condition or not. Resting is one of the main keys to tapping into your brilliance, your genius, and also just doing the work that you're here to do in the world. All right. So the way that I teach is a little bit different. Sometimes I use slides. Today, though, I'm going to use an outline that we're going to kind of fill in together. Like I'm going to type, and you might hear me typing in the background, and we're going to share the document. And I'm really hoping we have a couple more people who trickle in, because it would be very exciting to crowdsource some of these things. But we'll also do that with the replay, and then I'll give it 48 hours and then basically use what I have. So just a quick check-in, use the chat if you like. How are you feeling today? Super good, never been better. It's a day. Yay, we like days, better than not days. Or no, you're not having a good time, or something in between. Go ahead and just put it in the chat. That way I can get a little bit of a vibe, and we will go from there. Excellent. So we are in between and alive. Woohoo! I'll take it. I'm also in the same space because I have started an exercise routine, and with steroids, which I take for Addison's disease, that's a crapshoot. So you just kind of guess what you think is going to be the right amount. And sometimes you're right and sometimes you're not. And there's really, you do the best you can. And I get it right a lot, but I got it wrong. And so I got 3.5 hours of sleep last night. So this is what it's really like to run, to like have, yeah, cortisol roulette. That's exactly what it is. Just like, how much cortisol do I need? Don't know. Add too much. Anyway, the brownies didn't help. They were so good though. And I have no regrets. Welcome, Sally. It's so good to have you here. Okay, so we are going to do a meditation to help us center. And I'm going to just ask you, uh, go ahead and get comfortable where you are in the physical space, on the surface, etc. We're going to do a little meditation. Okay, allow yourself to focus on your breath and allow yourself to become aware of the surface that you're resting on. If you're sitting or laying down, allow yourself to feel the chair or couch or bed support you. If you're standing, allow yourself to feel the ground hold you up. And welcome the feeling of the air that surrounds your body. Allow yourself to take nice, relaxing breaths in from your belly. Breathe in and release. And with each breath in and out, allow yourself to relax more and more and more. Allow yourself to become more and more present to what is, to what's true within you, to the feelings and sensations. Allow yourself to welcome whatever is in your awareness right now and simply allow it to be without needing to push it away or examine it or argue with it. Just let it be. Let the thoughts pass like clouds in the sky as you focus on your breathing. Allow yourself to now welcome back any parts of your energy that are somewhere else. Call back all pieces of your energy that are busy worrying about something that it's not time to handle, that are invested in something that's not yours to invest in, that are simply struggling to be present in your body. And call back all pieces of your energy and yourself as best you can, trusting the process. And as you welcome back all pieces of yourself and your awareness to your energetic and physical body, allow yourself to let any energy that no longer serves you go. Allow it to go through your feet back to Mother Earth. Allow yourself to clear and balance as you become present for this particular training, knowing that you will learn whatever it is that you need to learn right now and trusting yourself to contribute in whatever ways are appropriate for you. And once you are complete, go ahead and open your eyes and resume normal awareness. And if you like, go ahead and just put a 1 in the chat so I know you're complete. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to jump in just a little bit. And I mentioned at the very beginning, at the top of the class, that we're going to be doing this a little bit differently. I'm a huge fan of going with the flow and doing the easy thing when it makes sense to. And so I'm going to share the outline that I have for teaching. And then we're going to basically fill it in, and you will get access to the notes later, whenever it's uploaded in the Intuitives Toolbox, which if you don't know what that is, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And we've now done the centering meditation. Okay, so let's talk about why this is bigger than just rest. This isn't just about learning to be more productive. I think that's a selling point for a lot of people to learn how to rest, because it is fairly normal to want to be productive. And our society has created a lot of interesting stories around what it does and doesn't mean to be productive. And we've tied our worth to productivity. Not everyone. So if you have not done that, good job. That's excellent. Don't start now. If you have done that, no worries. That is very normal, and it's very human, and it's very prevalent in Western society, especially. And so this training is about shifting a dynamic in the world. It's about taking a new approach to the way that we can just interact with both our work, but ourselves as well. Because if we are always prioritizing productivity over things such as feeling good in your own body, honoring the complexity of what it means to be human, or even just basic nutritional needs, then it's going to be very difficult to enjoy your life. Not impossible, difficult. You simply want to have an appropriate relationship with your body and your energies so you can actually really enjoy life, whether it's a focus on productivity one day or not. Okay, now I come from the approach of there are 4 types of energies. There's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energies. And I like this approach for a lot of reasons, but I like it the most for exploring rest and rest activities, because when you break it down into 4 pieces, it's a lot easier to tell where you are on any of these, right? So we're going to go through this together. So your physical energy is exactly what it sounds like. How much energy do you have to move your physical body? Does your physical body actually want movement right now? It wants to exercise, it wants to do something, it wants to be in motion, or is it depleted and it wants a nap, or to not move, or to do something completely different and check out, right? So go ahead, and I want you to rate either on a piece of paper or in the chat if you're open to it, your physical energy on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being you're exhausted and you could use a nap and some rest, and a 10 being this is the best you've ever felt. It's actually kind of hard to be here right now because you kind of want to move your body, right? So go ahead and rate your physical energy from 1 to 10. And go ahead and put a random letter in the chat if you don't want to share your energy with everyone. Okay, and you can direct message me if you want to share. You just don't want to share it in front of everyone. That's fine. There's no pressure here. Good. And I'm going to give it just another minute to see if anyone else wants to join in. Otherwise, we're going to move forward. So keep that number. And we're going to do the same thing with mental energy. This is about your mindset and what's happening in here, your internal chatter. Mental and emotional energy is, all of these are interrelated. You cannot separate these completely. However, we are looking for broad categories because it makes life a lot easier to kind of categorize things. And our brains are designed to categorize things. That's how humans interact with the world. So mental energy are your thoughts. And if you have good mental energy, you are going to be sharp. You will have really good focus. You can focus if you need to. You can put your mind where you want it, and it will actually go that direction. And overall, the thoughts you're having are supportive to the tasks that you are doing, whether it's relaxing related tasks or productivity related tasks. So go ahead and rate that on a scale from 1 to 10. Oops, that's not how I wanted to do it. Good. Good job, Sally. Yeah, so y'all's mental energy is on point today. I am happy to hear that. That's excellent. So mental energy is pretty solid here. Good. So let's check into the emotional energy. The emotional energy is, where are your emotions at? Like, are you super anxious and feel like you're about to have a panic attack? Not fun. Or are you basically at a state of peace, this internal sense of safety and openness? Or even excitement. It's the state of arousal, which means, whether it's a high energy emotion or lower energy. Peace doesn't have as much physical energy running through it, but it's a high energy emotion in the sense that you have a lot of energy available to you. Excitement tends to be, you use a lot of energy. There's a lot of energy coursing through you, but that one is high arousal. So excitement, high arousal. Anyway, I hope this makes sense. All right, rate your emotional energy from 1 to 10. Again, 10 being you're in a perfect spot, 1 being you're this close to going off on someone or crying. Good. Okay, both anxious and excited. So if you feel both, this is what I don't like about the higher arousal emotions. As a highly sensitive person, the higher arousal emotions, such as anxiety and excited, can get confused really easily. So Kara, what I'm going to recommend you do is just focus on the breathing, like from that stomach, because anxiousness and excitement are very, very, very physiologically similar. Being excited can be a very positive emotion that is motivating and helps you do things that you want to do. The anxiety is very close as far as the physiology is concerned. However, whenever you have anxiety, there are usually mismatched thoughts, or there's just this impulse to go do something, to fix something, or to change things, where excitement is really more about motivation. So does that help? Does that clarify a bit, Kara? Good question. So with spiritual energy, I'll get back to you as soon as you say something, Kara, and you finish your thought. With spiritual energy, we're going to be focusing on how connected to spirit do you feel? Do you feel really connected? And you feel like you're in touch with your spirit and all that is? Or do you feel disconnected? So whenever we're talking about spirituality, we're talking about that sense of connectedness with the universe as a whole and your helper energies, etc. So go ahead and rate that on 1 to 10 if you know it. And then I'm going to revisit the emotional. It seems like it's still not quite clear. So I will help with that. All right. So I'm going to talk about mental health and working with the emotions, because whenever it comes to, for instance, Carrie, you just shared, and thank you for sharing, that you've basically had PTSD and anxiety from birth, right? So your neurophysiology is wired to experience more anxiety than average everyday folks. And this is true for a lot of people who come to the spiritual realms. Our emotions tend to be heightened sensitivity. So we have more emotions with less stimuli. And it can go just about every direction depending on what you're doing to help work through it. And so I love that you've been working on this, Kara. I have no doubt that you will get a handle on it. So with the emotional stuff, here's how I would rate it. I would rate it with the lowest emotion that you are presently physiologically connected to. So if you have both excitement and anxiety, I personally would focus on the anxiety because that is what rest is here to work with. It's to assist us with those activities, right? Or to discover the appropriate activities for where we're at. And especially since you have that anxiety in there somewhere, I would just put it on the low end of wherever you think it is. So go with your gut reaction, Kara, don't overthink it. And remember that you can change your mind at any point and it's not a big deal. Whenever it comes to working with all of these, we're going to actually work through it. So it seems like most of the folks here are pretty solid with their energy. So let's talk about what we need. Okay, so 3 most of the time for emotional anxiety. Perfect. I love that. I don't love that you have it, but I love that you're just going with it. So Kara, for you, you know that most of your work is probably not going to be physical or spiritual. Most of your work is going to be mental and emotional, right? Because anxiety works on the thoughts and emotions that support anxiety. Okay. So whenever I am working with this, this is where we're going to skip to the energy matrix. It feels like the natural next step. The energy matrix is basically going to be a little chart, and I'm going to beautify it once we're done and we have some good feedback. But it's going to be crowdsourced. All of you get to chime in if you want, or you can just watch and be a spectator. That's fine too. Okay, but for each of these, there are different activities that will help. So if you're on the low end of physical energy, then you want to rest and feed your body, rest and digest, right? Rest and digest. And so with the rest and digest phase, you want to eat nutritious food, not the super delicious brownies that I have upstairs, right? So this morning I started off with a smoothie. Thank you, Kara. Kara says she can see my metaphysical doctoral training coming into play here. Thank you. So rest and digest helps get the body what it needs to feel like it can recover. So if you have learned a lot about psychology, then you also know that this is the, oh no, come on, brain. There's parasympathetic, and then there's the other one. Okay, what do we do? Sympathetic versus parasympathetic. Okay, we're looking for the parasympathetic. Parasympathetic means that we are going to actually rest and digest. It means your body is experiencing safety and believes it is safe. We like that. That is good. Whenever you have low physical energy, you want to be in a rest and digest state so that you can actually recover your physical energy. This is also the time when you want to nap. Naps are encouraged. You can meditate if you want. Now, this one is a little bit tricky. If you don't want to meditate, do not meditate. This is literally about what you want to do in this moment. So a lot of times we talk about getting rid of the wants or focusing on wants for intentions. This is a time when you're just going to honor that feedback from your body mind. And it's like, you can suggest to the body mind, should we meditate? And it's like, nah. Then you say, okay, we're not going to meditate. We're just going to sit on the couch. The whole point is to not do too much physical activity. Low intensity exercise is fine if you had enough sleep and nutrition. but your body is out of shape. And so you're just trying to get it conditioned again. Again, don't start any type of exercise or nutrition routine until you talk to your doctor, but you want to do low intensity. This is not where you're going to build any muscle. You're not going to be trying to push yourself. This is a nice walk around the block. This is you just getting some fresh air. This is you finding a way to engage with the physical world on a very low key level. Okay. So when you have medium physical energy, in order to rest, now remember, resting is about actually receiving energy in some type of way. When you have medium, this is a good time for moderate or low intensity exercise. Meditation is great here. And you still want nutrition. I'm going to recommend nutrition on all of these, right? Like it's your physical body. If you want to make it better, you don't have to give up sweets or bacon or whatever it is that you like. It means that the vast majority of the food is there to support your body. Okay, so low to moderate exercise is great whenever you're in the medium because it will help restore energy. Whenever we're exercising, especially walking, or running or just anything that really gets us moving, it really helps us to clear out the toxins and impurities in our bloodstream. This is actually a really important function of the physical body. Whenever it is an aerobic exercise that has body movement, you are going to have a much better time clearing out your lymphatic system, which is crucial for rest and recovery. And it really helps you to, what's the word I want to use? It helps you to stay clear and get to that higher 8 to 10. And that's where the goal is. So whenever you're in a high physical state, you have a lot of physical energy, you can do just about anything you want, like do whatever you want. If you want to do high intensity, go for it. I won't necessarily recommend it as the only thing. However, I think it's wonderful. And I just really think just go with whatever you physically want to do at this point. And we're going to move on to mental now. Is there anything else that y'all feel is important for that physical list? Whenever you're in a low energy physical state, what is it that you crave that seems to help? I listed mine. All right, while you're typing those, we're going to move on to mental. Whenever you're in a 1 to 3, I really like to just decompress. Like if I'm at a 1 to 3, I want to decompress. And if I can't decompress by just resting, then I'm going to just, I'm going to go in and type a lot. Okay, we've got some great things here. Darkness, low sensory input, hot black tea with honey, soft things. That's good. Blankets, furry friends, and stuffies. Okay. So with the mental, I also recommend that we take a little bit of time just to decompress and see if that helps, right? Decompress first. And then if you're still in a low place with your mental energy, I like journaling for this better than I like some of the other exercises. And this is also something you're going to want to explore for yourself. There are some things that are on that edge, and it just kind of depends on who you are. Because I, for instance, whenever I'm in a low emotion state, I like to do things like EFT, the emotional freedom technique. I like to do things such as, but not including, the Sedona method, which is a method to process emotions. But it's a very mentally focused way of doing it. So it lets me just kind of like, whoop, I ask the questions that I have printed off on a journal sheet and I keep going. And if you have things that you find are helpful with the mental energy, go ahead and type them in. So if your mental energy is low, as in it's kind of hard to focus, you aren't going to, like, you can't really follow all of your trains of thoughts the way that you want to, or anything of that nature, go ahead and just type it in. That's what it's for. That's what the chat is for. Okay. I'm gonna, and then the medium, oop, I didn't put EFT. Yes. I like relaxation meditations here. There are so many different types of meditation. For instance, one thing I probably would not do if my mental energy is low is I'm probably not going to do a belief shifting mental exercise. I'm probably not going to focus on that as a meditation. And the reason is that it'll be, for me personally, it's hard to focus on the words through those meditations. But if it's telling me how to relax, we're good. Yes, this is the right time to watch TV. Yes, I figured, Kara. I figured you meant a passive meditation. So watch TV is great whenever your brain is done. If your brain is mush, watch TV. It's fine. It is not toxic to watch TV. I love how this productivity culture has really made it so that we're not supposed to ever watch TV. And some of the people who are most adamant about productivity like to brag about how they've never owned a TV in like 3 decades. And there's nothing wrong with that. If not having a TV improves your life, don't have a TV. June's Journey. Is that a TV show? What's June's Journey at, Alexis? I want to know. But allow yourself to just be. And if watching TV is good for you, do it. I love it. As someone with chronic health conditions, TV is my best friend whenever I'm having flare days. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to sit, we're going to watch. And then anyone who has a problem with that can complain about it to themselves. It's brainless. Yes, you need brainless activities. This is also good. Mindless games that you genuinely enjoy. Oh, it's a game where you find clues. Yes. I like games like that engage the mind enough to entertain it, but it doesn't engage it so much that it's draining. So for instance, my go-to game right now is Pokemon Go. And that's because Mr. Sunshine, the guy that I'm kind of seeing, kind of not seeing, we're more friends than anything now. Like we just play together and it's so much fun. So whenever you have mental energy that is in the medium thing, this is a great time for the more higher level meditation. So I'm going to go to active meditations, hypnosis, belief work. This is a lot of explanation, but it's really good stuff. So it's going in. All right. Whenever you're at medium, you can also just do the things you need to do. You can usually get through your day fairly effortlessly at medium. Like you're probably not going to love having that day, right? It's not going to be like, wow, I had so much energy and I got all this stuff done. But you can be productive. You're not going to struggle to be productive most of the time. It's more that it's just not optimized. So whenever you're here and you want to improve it, the active meditations, journaling, reflecting, and this is where I like to do EFT or the other emotional stuff, because you need the mind to get engaged whenever you're doing emotional work, such as EFT, finding core beliefs, healing core wounds. The mind is helpful. Like it can guide us to where we need to go. We do need that mental energy for it. I find that the mind and emotions are a good pair. If you have one that's strong and the other is kind of weak, you can use the one that's strong to kind of help the other one out. So if your mental game is on point, like you can think clearly and you can focus, you can use that benefit to focus on the emotional work that you want to be doing, belief shifting and all of that. Okay. Any other activities that you just love for the medium mental energy space? I'm loving all the activity here too. This is great. Coursework, audiobooks, admin task. I'm literally going to copy and paste this. This is, yeah, research, but not development. I agree. Okay. Okay. Now, I like especially the admin tasks. Like if you have to balance your checkbook or review your bank account online, like just about everyone else these days, then this is the perfect time to balance the books, to make sure everything is working. It's a great time to make sure all the bills are paid or organize the things. If you run a business, this is a great time to do those admin activities, like make sure all of the taxes are doing what they're supposed to be doing. You've got everything filled or organized for the next time you've got to file your tax. Go through old things to read. Good. So Sally likes to read. I think that's great. I'm going to put reading here overall because some people love fiction too. Okay. I think we've only got the active folks here now, which actually I'm kind of feeling. So thank you for being a small but engaged group. And this is fun stuff. This is fun stuff for me. It's always fun stuff for me. Okay. So let's do high intensity. Whenever you're in a high intensity, high energy state with your mental energy, super focused, all of this, basically do whatever you want. I really love, if I'm laser focused, tackle your hardest tasks, right? You're no longer, whenever you're at the high level, you don't need rest or recovery. What you want is to build momentum and inertia. So actually, I'm going to put it over here. There. Momentum and inertia is the focus whenever we are in the high energy level point. So this is the stuff that you do at the, like you do not enjoy it, but it has to get done. And this is also a great time to work on mindset because you can get laser focused on the mindset that you want to have, as well as completely welcome and be aware of what is happening. I do like the money management here. I'll usually do it on the medium, but it's literally my job, right? So I have to like it at least a little to function. Okay, good. So anything that will help your life with momentum and inertia is what you do whenever you're in the 8 to 10. So you want to actually utilize your energy when you're in those states. Whenever you're medium or low, you want to focus on activities that will rest your body, mind, or prepare it better for the future. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the emotional portion. So whenever you have low emotional energy, whether it's because of depression, anxiety, PTSD, or just you had a bad day, it happens, or a year, you want to focus on processing your emotions without poking them. Do not poke the beehive. So if you're already anxious, you're not going to analyze why you're like this, right? It's not healthy to go and say, why do I have so much anxiety? Let's go in there and find out. I went through a hard time as a child and it's everyone else's fault. Now, listen, if you can do that without like stirring up the beehive, go for it. but you don't want to do anything that pokes the beehive. Does this make sense? Does that analogy make sense to you? Okay, good. You can process your emotions without a lot of activity here. I don't recommend something like EFT unless you also have high mental energy here. Because if you're trying to process, but your mind just isn't in that good focused state, it's real easy to just make things worse. If you have a very high level of focus and your emotions are kind of in the gutters, this is the right time to just kind of pair them up and be like, yes, we're going to take the mental energy I have and use it to help the emotions. Yay. All of these help each other, because if you haven't slept in 3 days, your focus is going to be crap. You're probably going to be grumpy and very easily agitated, and your ability to connect spiritually is going to be low, right? If you're disconnected spiritually, usually your physical, mental, and emotional health tends to suffer. If you're and spirituality does not mean you have to believe what I believe, or you can be agnostic and have a spiritual connection. It just means you feel connected to the universe as a whole. And if all you believe in is physical matter, you are matter and you can perceive and be a part of the whole, even if you don't believe in any other dimensions, which obviously I think everyone here will be. But I'm explaining this because you may have friends and family who don't believe. And I don't want you to get the idea that they are necessarily in an unhealthy state. They might be, but it's not just because they don't believe. Does this make sense? Like, I just want to make that very clear, because I've seen folks use it to be mean, which is rude. Okay, good. And this is one of the ways, or one of the reasons I'm glad I grew up in an agnostic household, because I could see and experience how my family, who was agnostic, experienced the universe with this sense of wonder and imagination. And they didn't need the same type of connection that I prefer in order to have that. And so it's just something to keep in mind. Okay. Anything else that you think belongs on the low emotional energy column in that little spot? I'm going to put gaming here too. Casual gaming is great for kind of giving your emotions some space. Oh my gosh, take a shower. Take a bath. Yes, breath work. Super good if you have low energy. You don't even need to have much mental energy for breath work or taking a shower. You can just kind of do it and just let your body do the rest. I love the breath work for processing hidden emotions that I'm not aware of, or coming to realizations that I thought I already knew. And then, you find out that maybe you knew less than you thought. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think it is. Okay, good. Love the suggestions. And so with medium emotional energy, let's tackle some past programming. Yeah. So whenever you have medium emotional energy and you want more emotional energy, it's time to go for all of the old stuff that got buried in the subconscious. Subconscious excavation. So whenever you have like the focus to do this and your emotions are solid enough that it lets you, get into it, especially if you're an empath. If you're an empath, take your time, go in, do the work. It's so rewarding long term, and it is a beautiful thing to do. And also, one thing I really recommend is that you just kind of track which things seem to go in which spots for you specifically, because everyone's going to be a little bit different. There's going to be things that are really great for recovery that you don't really that most people won't want to do. Like, it just does not fit who they are, but for you, it's gold. So one of my favorite things to do, oh, journaling should be on here. Did I put journal? I did not. Okay. I like to review journals for past patterns. So I look through my journals. I have one type of journal, really. I tried to separate them, but I don't think like that. So now it's just one journal, but it's a dream journal. It's my thoughts. It's my daily card pull. It's just about everything that I think in my personal life. I don't really do it that often for my business life, just because the focus has been my personal life for the last year and change. So who knows, maybe that'll change in the next couple months, but I like to review my journals for patterns. So if I'm dreaming of something, what am I dreaming of? Like right now, I'm dreaming of family systems work, which has things like dreaming of a branch that got cut off or fell off of the tree, and I needed to clear it, as in like get it off the yard. And whenever I went to go do that, the tree was contagious, and me and 3 other people got a little disease from the tree. The tree represents family, the family tree, and the branch is the old things that we're not taking into the future. But whenever I was going to clean up some of those things, I still got some of the stuff that we're not taking into the future. It's like, fine, okay, being human is fun. So just look for things. If you have a journal, reviewing it when you have a medium amount of energy, really great idea. It's a great way to see where you are, see if there's new patterns that become apparent to you. What have you been struggling with consistently that you keep feeling that you're making progress on, but the universe is not giving you the results that you want, right? Is there something else that you need to look at and review? So does this make sense? Yes, I'm assuming so. Yay. Usually we get questions whenever it's not making sense. So this is where I like to do all of my best. Like I love to go in and do the leaf work, EFT, hypnosis, active meditation, forgiveness. And what else? There's something else that I really wanted to do. Oh, spiritual exploration. I like spiritual exploration whenever I'm good with my emotional energy too. Okay. Anything else that you think should be in the medium that works for you, that you want to share? Somatic work. Ooh, yes. Feel those emotions, process them. Feel them inside your body on purpose. Yes, I love it. I like working with the body to get it to process things. By the way, if you're thinking of anything else, please type it in. But while you're doing that, I wanted to share a study that I found a few weeks ago, and I'm going to try to put it in the notes. I am going to put it down here. And okay, it was in the Journal of Neuroscience, and it's really cool. I'll find the link and put it in and do a little blurb about it, because what is happening is they've actually scientifically figured out with verifiable data, like scientists have figured this out, that when we process our emotions, that is our body mind processing information. We are smarter, literally smarter, whenever we process our emotions. That is our body mind working through and finding solutions. It's problem solving through the body mind. So actually feeling your feelings on purpose, with the purpose to process them and release the ones that no longer need to be inside the body mind, will let you be smarter, find more creative solutions, and also not feel the poopy emotion anymore. It's just it's gold. I've been really digging a lot of what they're doing in neuroscience the last couple months. So all right, so whenever it's high, whenever you have a ton of emotional energy, you can do visioning with medium. I like to do vision work whenever I have high. I don't actually do much vision work whenever I'm in medium because I usually know what I want. I can usually write it on a note card. And so I don't want to do visual work whenever I'm at a 4 to 7. I want to process so I can do it at an 8 to 10. But everyone's different. Some people engage with the visioning in a way that allows them to release emotions. So if that describes you, you can absolutely do it in the medium spot, right? If you have medium energy, it'll work for you. For me, it's just not the best use of my energy. So visioning, big picture work, best day work. What you really want. And whenever you're in a high emotional energy, when you have a lot of emotional energy, you also can go to your deepest, darkest wounds, AKA shadow work. I don't know why I said it that way. You can do shadow work at medium too. I like waiting for the high energy times for the same reason. I like to go really deep. I like it to be efficient, and I have other things that work better in the medium way. But again, you got to honor your own body mind system here. I love shadow work and going like building my dreams. Like building your dreams is a great thing to do. Shadow work is whenever you're going to the most unloved or worst parts of your personality as the human that you have incarnated as this time around, and accepting and loving those parts of yourself without continuing any abusive or toxic patterns. So an example, shadow work for me was realizing that I had a bad habit, and this is years ago now, of just being in denial about some things that were happening and always putting a happy face on emotions. And so I went in and did the work. And part of it was I just prefer to be happy than sad. And why not try to make it through saying nice things? But the other piece is I was afraid of feeling sad or upset or hopeless. I was afraid of the feeling of hopelessness. And so I avoided it by distracting myself with wishful thinking that was not grounded in reality. It did not have a plan to back it up. It did not have energy that was appropriately aligned to help it manifest. It was an escape. It was not spiritual work. Does this make sense? Okay. And this can be true of anything. Maybe some people struggle with jealousy. Okay. Can you accept that about who you are right now while still holding yourself accountable for how you show up in your relationships and not letting that jealousy poison your relationships? That's shadow work. Or realizing you've been mismanaging your money and you've been overspending and putting yourself on a budget while honoring that money management isn't your strong suit right now. Doesn't mean it can't change. It just means that on that particular day, it's not your strong suit. And so you need to do something different. All of that is shadow work. And all of that is so crucial. And this is also where I like to do things like negative consequence exercises. Deal with your stuff. I'm going to put that down. I like that, Sally. Oh no, come on, train of thought, come back. Yeah, I like to do either the best or the worst whenever I'm in this space with emotions. I'm either going to have like start working on my highest vibe, best case scenarios and envisioning them and exploring who I need to be to make it happen. And then working to actually be that person. Or I'm going to go to the worst parts of the personality, the parts of the personality that have caused the most pain for myself and others, and deal with it there. I really like to go to the extremes of the good, bad, desired, undesired polarity. There we go. Thank you, Alexis. I'm so happy to hear you're enjoying this, and then the replay will be up in a little bit. Yeah. I'm gonna have to clarify this whenever I do the little final thing, but I'd like to go to the extremes and see what's going on there. Okay. And that is for that one. We're going to move on to spiritual. Dun, 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 dun. So spiritual energy, whenever you have low connectedness, your number one job is to connect again. That's it. And this includes things such as grief. You might have to actually feel your feelings to connect to the universe again. This is all interconnected. I've talked about it before, and it really shows up on the spiritual side because we are spirits. We are spirits. Do you know what we have to do in order to be spiritual? Exist. That's it. That's all we have to do. If we exist, we're already spiritual. And so I want you to think about and explore how you connect with that spiritual essence of you. So this could be feeling the feelings that it could be meditation. It could be real talk with yourself about what is and isn't working. Again, spirituality can be a little bit tricky because, again, we're looking for that connectedness. Okay. What activities do you enjoy whenever you have low spiritual energy? Let me know. Being in nature. Yes. Inspirational music, films. Oh yeah, yours is really good. Sage the house. Good. Yes. Mine is all work, 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 work. But this is why we crowdsource, because this works for me whenever I'm disconnected. Like real talk with myself is one of my favorite things. Like I just love it so much. Nature. Inspirational music. Films. Media. Shamanic journeying. Kundalini yoga and Qigong. Prayer, sage the house. Yeah, I agree. Excellent. Cleaning the altar and resetting it. Agreed. Okay, so medium energy, whenever we are working with medium spiritual energy, I like to do spiritual exploration when I'm in this place. Because that exploration, so that would be like the shamanic journeying for you, Kara. I really love to do that whenever I'm in a medium spot, because whenever I'm in a medium spot, it's just, I get more out of it, and it really helps get me into the high states. Clearing chakras. So if I haven't cleared my chakras in a while, then I'm going to do it now. I love doing that here. I don't like setting intentions when I'm in medium. I don't. I like setting intentions whenever I'm in the high spiritual vibe. Okay. Clearing chakras. What other? Oh, past life work. Love doing past life work. Future life work. Karmic bonds. Oh, karmic bonds are fun to work with, especially in medium. Okay, so karmic bonds, if you're not familiar with the term, is whenever you are working through the spiritual aspects of your core relationships that you have a spiritual connection with. So for instance, I'm going to use Mr. Sunshine as an example. I think he's just the perfect example for this. We have karmic bonds. It's very clear. What they are and what it's going to be long term is not clear. Mr. Sunshine, again, is the guy I've been kind of casually seeing for about 8-9 months. We wanted to get serious right away, and then it just kind of fell apart, but neither one of us are really moving on either. So like he and I have been talking about it, and we clearly have a healing relationship. Both of us have healed so much from the relationship that we have. And a lot of that healing is coming because we're not trying to argue with one another's truths. We're trying to find a way to honor it while honoring our own truth, which has been messy. That's usually karmic bond work is a little messy. It's not just I'm making a bullet point list and everything is fine. But that's the beauty of it. As you do it, things get better and better and better in your life. And I've been getting a lot of feedback from people that my selfies, of all things, my selfies have been showing that there's a lot more relaxation in who I am as a person. And that's in large part because of working with those karmic bonds with Mr. Sunshine. So anyway, doing it on purpose is usually what I do in the medium stage. Okay. Whenever I have high momentum, or sorry, high spiritual energy, like I've got the power of worlds in my hands and I can feel it, I can create anything. I like doing creation work. This is where you are doing the big visioning. Spiritual writing, yes. If you're a spiritual practitioner, this is when you're working with your clients, right? Like you want to wait, you want to design your life so you have a high level of spiritual energy most of the time, whenever you're working with clients, because everyone can tell whether your heart's in it or not, right? They can tell whether you're loving what you're doing or not. Okay. Anything else come to mind? So spiritual writing, channeling, client work for spiritual practitioners. So if you're a spiritual practitioner, client work is great here. This is also a great place for creating courses offers if you're a spiritual practitioner. And if you're not, that's fine. You can still create courses and offer. Like this is a great time to download work-related stuff. If you want answers from the big U, this is the perfect time to get them. Yeah. Timeline work, yes. Good. Excellent. Okay. Anything else coming to mind for this? We're going to make it pretty, probably by tomorrow. Okay. So we're going to talk about daily maintenance. World work. Yes, fix the world. This is the time to do it. Meditate on peace. Yeah. Sally says good luck. It's like, well, the world hasn't. Yeah. No, that's Leo vibes. I'm just in this mood right now. Okay, daily maintenance. I highly recommend that you evaluate your 4 major energy levels daily. I do. It takes 2 seconds. You can do it on a note card. I keep note cards in every drawer, except for the one I'm looking in apparently, which means I have them on the desk somewhere. There they are. Boop. And so what I will often do is I will just jot down in order So I'm actually going to rate mine today, and I'll just show you exactly what I do. So physical. Okay. And so today, my physical energy is at a 2, right? Like I had 3.5 hours of sleep last night. I'm tired. My emotional energy is solid. Like if we're good, we're good. It's mostly because I'm tired, but my emotional energy is at a 6. My mental energy is at a 6. Like I've got okay focus. Today's a good day to get stuff done. I don't have to skip it. And then at the end, my spiritual energy is at an 8. I feel great spiritually. The only thing that's holding me back from being a 10 is my lack of naps. If I had a nap and just a little more caffeine after the nap, that spiritual energy would probably be a 9 or a 10, right? And so I'd like to put it on this note card, and then I write my list of what I want to do in the day on the back, and I try to make sure whatever is lowest is getting handled. So I would take, for instance, this top left-hand square: nap, meditate, low intensity exercise. I actually should do low intensity exercise today. Low sensory input, laying in bed for a few minutes sounds great. Soft things, yeah, that sounds great too. And the other thing that we didn't put watch TV here, but this is a good activity here, on the physical side, because it just lets you kind of be without forcing things. You can just decompress. Now, I'm still going to work some today just because there's a schedule. However, my main focus whenever I'm not doing the work, whenever I have space around the work, is going to be basically rest and digest, low intensity exercise, and probably something soft. I have this heated blanket upstairs, and I'm probably going to watch TV for an hour or so, and maybe go for a little 10-15 minute walk on my treadmill, right? So does this make sense? Thumbs up. Okay. So what I want you to do is just do the same thing I just did. I did it live. I did not pre-plan this. I think that was pretty obvious. Just go in, rate your day, and come up with 1 to 2 activities that you are comfortable with and have time to do today to get whatever's lowest a little less low. And once you're done, I'm going to give you some space to do that. Just go ahead and put in 1 thing you're going to do today in the chat, because this is just so nice. Good. Kara says, get out outdoor exercise and work on admin. Yeah, there you go. Now you have a to-do list that's honoring where you're actually at. Now, do you see how whenever you're focused on the appropriate rest for where you are, some of these activities in the medium don't seem like rest activities, right? Because they actually require some energy. And same thing with even the lower ones. But do you see how focusing on those over time and repeating it actually gets you to a higher rest level consistently? Good. Excellent. Yeah. Run errands, post office, get new rose bushes at nursery, pictures. I love roses. Buy Father's Day cards. I love it. Yeah. I like this method for a few things. It deals with your personal reality. It's very, very customizable, because Sally's list and Kara's list are very different. And my list is different than both of yours, because what is restful for me today is going to be very different. Like Sally, your list, I'm just not going to happen today, right? Nothing wrong with it. It's a perfect list. But for me, if I were to attempt to do it, because I have the low energy right now, I would exhaust myself and I would be at an even lower physical energy. And so if I have errands to run, I'm not running them today unless it's just unavoidable. For me, I avoid errands when my physical energy is low because I find errands exhausting. But that's where people are different. Some people get exhausted or stressed out if they don't do them. And so if they're in a low energy, they want to get them out of the way. So again, honor where you're at. Okay. So this is really where it's at. So what I want you to do as your game plan, I kind of wanted to see how you want to use this in the future. Do you want daily check-ins, weekly check-ins? What game plan works for you? This is really where you decide. I do daily. And I do daily for the reason that I do have a chronic health condition and I do have ADHD. And the only way I function is with lists and lists and lists and lists and lists. I have lists that organize the kind of list that I have, right? Like that's the kind of list maker I am. Kara says daily. Yeah, I think that for most people, especially those of us who work in the spiritual field, we do well to do this daily. Yeah, I'm an obsessive list maker. I also have a Virgo moon. And so I like to make a list of my emotions and then feel them in order. If I could color code the emotions, I probably would. But anyway, well, I guess that's what the chakras are. Yeah. Okay, good. List makers for the win. We are the best. Lists are life. Lists are life. Well, that's what's going here. Lists are life. Yeah, we're doing a hashtag inside a little document that people only have by downloading it. All right. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get all of these notes together. Do we have other questions, final thoughts, feelings, reflections from the crowd? Oh, your Pisces moon deserves permission to simply feel because that's just a lot of stuff to be feeling. Thank you, Sally. You were so sweet. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for attending, whether you're here in the replay or whether you are here live. I adore you. Thank you for spending your time here. And if you're in the replay, then the downloads and all of the relevant information there should be an obvious place for all of that. So just look around the video. There should be an arrow pointing something or a button that's a fun color that tells you to do something, and you can get the materials there. If you can't find them, email them to me. I'll help you, get what you need. All right. Thank you, everyone. I so appreciate you. Have a blessed day.